We began this road with Glenn Close as soon as she started Bring Change to Mind, because her idea was that there are two fundamental pillars of changing stigma. The first is family and the second is science. But now we're in our second decade. We want to come together with a new brand of scientists, people who are younger, people who have more connection.
Unless we have the best new minds come to the table, we'll be into voodoo science, we'll be back in the dark ages. The best new science and the best new humanization will propel us forward.
To do good, you have to kind of know that you're actually moving the needle. The thing that will root us in that is our scientific advisors. What we are pioneering here will have huge repercussions in the future.
So often, the practice of radical belonging and self-acceptance is originating from youth of color. And so we as adults have the opportunity to learn from these experts with lived experience on how to be a more inclusive society.
Stigma occurs at the level of individuals, at the level of interpersonal interactions, and finally the level of social structures and institutions. And if we care about addressing the negative effects of stigma, we need to think about how do we target stigma at each of these levels, including the level of social structures.
5 years ago, I came out as a transgender woman, and for the first time, I confronted my mental health issues. And 5 years later, I'm standing here talking about why youth mental health matters.
We know that there aren't any real programs to help us confront or think about male mental health in America. So it's a real treat that Bring Change to Mind has an interest in this, because when we think about where young adolescent men today are, they're talking in a new way, more openly than I've ever seen in 20 years of treating patients.
In the world of survival, many men feel that no one listens to them or even cares to listen. Cultural changes need to happen, but it won't happen overnight. So where do we begin? We need role models, men who can tell young men that they can open up, they need to prioritize self-care, and that seeking help is not a weakness.
Being able to find ways where we normalize the checking in seems to be a very powerful way to get men in a room to kind of talk and be able to know that that's something they can do and that they can actually find relief from.
The amazing thing about Bring Change to Mind is that it listens to the youth voice, encourages the youth voice, raises up the youth voice. And that's part of the reason why I'm so proud to be part of Bring Change to Mind.